Hey, let's go over some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. And then, hey, it looks like Keldon's going to be keeping number 3 after all.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Happy Monday, everybody. And we'll get you through the Monday blues right here on Locked On Spurs. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. You guys are making the wise choice by coming to Locked On Spurs. Subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. The list goes on and on. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. What are we talking about today? Well, if you're on video right now with us on YouTube, you can see on your screen. But if you're not, we're going to be discussing some Spurs news that you may have missed, and then get into the big topic, something that I broke over the weekend. It looks like Keldon Johnson is going to keep number 3 after all. Yeah, everybody's been talking about, well, what's going to happen? Keldon's number 3. Chris Paul, he's CP3. He's worn that number all throughout his 19 years in the NBA and then at Wake Forest. What's going to give? And the Spurs have been hiding it too. Well, it looks like Keldon he did let it slip out of the bag. We're going to be discussing if Keldon should have given it up or not, and then get into some of your comments over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. But first, some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. And right off the bat, hey, if you are a big fan of the WWE and you're a big fan of the Spurs, then this item is just for you. So Fanatics recently released a new item, and I think Spurs fans are going to want this one if you can afford it. And we'll get to that in a bit. Fanatics has released a mashup between the WWE Championship belt and the Spurs to bring you a Spurs WWE title belt. I got a picture right here. That is via Fanatics. There you have it. That is awesome. That is awesome. I want one so bad. It has the Spurs logo, has the Spurs main logo. Now, you can't see it in this photo, but in the back, it has the logos of the NBA, the Western Conference. But that's pretty much the gist of it right there. That looks awesome, right? All Spurs fans are going to be clamoring for this, if not already want it. But the sticker price. This is close to $600. This is a little over $550 per belt. Yeah, that is expensive. But what an item. Can you imagine going to the Frost Center or even on the road, walking into the arena like a Spurs WWE champion, draped on your waist or thrown over your shoulder? This is an awesome item to have. God, I want one so bad. But it's close to $600, man. That is a lot of cash. Yeah, you can see it there. Look, I like the gold and the basketball orange accent there. Yeah, really, really nice. Yeah, but if you have that kind of money, it's available for you right now via the Fanatics website, and maybe one day I'll be able to get that and hang it behind me over here on the Locked On Spurs background, the nerd background. What better way to add more nerd stuff to the nerd background than a WWE Spurs championship belt? That is awesome. In other Spurs news, Jeremy Sohan spoke with Hero Magazine, and he says to them that he is looking to improve and set the bar higher. Is what Jeremy Sohan had to say to the magazine. He says, I feel good. I'm excited. It's going to be my 3rd year, and I feel like I got a lot to show. So he's definitely setting the bar higher for himself. We're likely going to have a bigger discussion about this in a future episode of Locked On Spurs. But, hey, we know what it starts with him, right? Shooting. Need that spacing. Victor, Wemby needs that spacing to operate. If he can knock that down, run the pick and roll, that'd be great for him to knock the little pop-up shot there. But, yeah, Jeremy Sohan is setting the bar high for his year 3. Can you believe it's already been 3 years since Sohan has been a Spur? Yeah, it's going by fast. In other Spurs news, Victor Wembanyama thanked his supporters during the Olympic run. He took to social media and mostly in France, but loosely translated, he said, "Thank you, France. Thank you, French fans." He said the best is yet to come. So he feels Team France could be a powerhouse in future international competition. They can. You got Yasabule, you got Wemby, who knows if Batum is still there? Probably not, but nevertheless, French basketball is a power right now. You got Alex Sarr. We talk about City Sissoko. So it looks like, at least Wemby believes that Team France could be a quite powerhouse moving forward. In other Spurs news, a card collector announced that he has a $1 million bounty on a Spurs Victor Wembanyama Superfractor auto card. Yes, the card collector, apparently he's very well known. His name isn't get it here. Blesnick. He owns Blez Sports Cards. Again, he's offering a $1 million bounty on the rare Victor Wembanyama Superfractor auto card. Now, this is a box, or card, I should say, that's coming out in the Topps collector set that I believe is coming out at the end of the month. Basically, he's saying if you pull that card in your pack, he'll give you $1 million on the spot. You know what? If I get that card, I would be, I know $1 million is a lot, it's life-changing, but that card is going to go up in value. You know it. You know what? We're going to ask our guests about that in just a few seconds, so we'll have fun with that. But $1 million for a one Wemby card. Woo! That'll be kind of, I have to think twice about that if I'm going to turn down that kind of money. And speaking of Victor Wembanyama, he told French outlet Brut that he added about 10 to 11 pounds to his frame coming off his rookie season. That is great. I think that's going to help him deal with kind of the monsters in the paint. It's not out of the clear yet. He was listed in his rookie season about 209 pounds. So we'll round that up to 210. So he's about 220 right now. He's still slight of frame. You saw during the France Olympic run, some of the bigger bigs really took it to him, especially Nikola Jokic. But then again, that's Joker. He'll destroy anybody. But you saw that a lot, really attacking him. Look, whatever helps him get stronger, that's good. And I believe that'll help him into year 2. All right, there you have it, some quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Rudy Campos. Yes, of Sweep the League. We're going to be discussing Keldon Johnson, number 3, CP3, what's going on with the jersey number, all that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk to you about BetterHelp. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Look, if you're looking for online therapy, what better way to start than with BetterHelp? It has everything you need. It's private. It's suited to your schedule. You can switch therapists in no time with no extra charge. And look, when your schedule is just packed with kids' activities, big work projects, so much more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. That's where BetterHelp comes in. Even when you know what makes you happy, it's hard to make it work for you. But even when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important more than ever. So if you've ever benefited from therapy, now's your chance to get back on there or switch to BetterHelp. Look, it's not just for things that are gone bad. It's also things that are gone good. You want to keep them going on and keeping the good times going. Well, you want to talk that out with BetterHelp. So it's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist. And like I said, you can switch therapists in no time for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day. Go to BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA right now. Get yourself 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA.
The Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Peppa Pig. Wait, that's not Peppa Pig. That's Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Maybe you wish you were Peppa Pig to have that kind of fame, man. That character, man, is making some bucks, isn't it?
Yeah. If I was Peppa Pig, I guess
you wouldn't be on Locked On Spurs, that's for sure.
Well, I don't have a. Is it a British accent? I don't even know. My daughter's the one that used to watch it.
It's a British accent, yeah.
Yeah, I can't do a British accent, but nonetheless, I mean, the money that Peppa Pig makes, I definitely would love that.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure. What is Peppa Pig anyway? What is it? It's just a cartoon for like toddlers, right?
For kids. So I'll say this: it's a cartoon for kids, but I know how you like anime, and I know how you like nerd stuff.
Yeah.
If you really do a deep dive into Peppa Pig,
oh no,
there's a dark side to Peppa Pig. For real. My daughter's the one that told me that she grew up, and I looked into it more, and apparently there's like a long lost brother or a kid that's in the background that nobody knows where that character went, or I don't know. There's a big old dark side to Peppa Pig. So just
really?
For anybody that wants to look it up. I haven't got to all of it, but I know there's a big dark side to Peppa Pig.
I never thought we'd have a conversation with Peppa Pig on Locked On Spurs. I never thought we'd have that. But anyway, again, he is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Make sure to check out his show on YouTube. rocking the Peppa Pig. Yeah. See, it's like a safe space here. You can get away with Peppa Pig on Locked On Spurs because it's nerd talk anyway. Hey, we're talking about gear. We want to get into some breaking news that happened over the weekend, courtesy of yours truly. In case you missed it, and I doubt you did, but if you did, Chris Paul. Well, let's just start over again. Let's see. Keldon Johnson, right? He's number 3. CP3 for 19 NBA seasons and even plus Wake Forest has always been known as CP3 because of his jersey.
Yeah.
So that's been some controversy. Chris Paul introductory conference in San Antonio doesn't hold up a Spurs jersey. Spurs marketing team, whenever they put stuff on social media, they hide Chris Paul's jersey. Well, wonder no more. Chris Paul will probably likely not be CP3 moving forward. Keldon Johnson at a recent meet and greet out in South Padre Island, Texas, was asked by a fan, "Hey, here's my jersey. Can you autograph it? And by the way, are you going to be number 3 next year? Because I don't want to buy another jersey." And then Keldon Johnson flat out says, "Yes, I'm going to be wearing number 3 for sure." So mystery solved. Straight from Keldon Johnson's mouth. KJ3 will continue. CP ? Will begin anew. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But okay, there's a gist of it, all right? But we're going to try to debate now. Yeah. Should Keldon Johnson given up number 3 to CP3, or should he have kept it? Now, Rudy, you're the guest, so you go first. What do you think? Should he have given it up or keep it?
Well, I'm all for one. If you were there first, then you should be able to keep that jersey if you really want it. Now, I know in past, a lot of players have come to a team and they've, given them like $50,000 and whatever. Yeah. They bought in the jersey before. But if Keldon wants to keep the jersey, I mean, Hall of Famer or not, it doesn't matter to me. It's his number until, he's not a member of the Spurs no more. That's his number. And if he wants to give it up, he can give it up. But I applaud him for not wanting to. I mean, it's also, when I played sports, I had a significant, number for the jersey that I had, and that could be something for Keldon Johnson. I mean, it could be so significant for him that he doesn't want to give up his jersey for Chris Paul. And hopefully being the pro that Chris Paul is, truly understands that. So, I'm okay with Keldon not giving up his jersey at all. It's his number. He has the right to say no. And no doubt about it. I mean, if Chris Paul wants number 3, he's going to probably have to pay an arm and a leg for it. But kudos to Keldon for me.
All right, so I talked about what Keldon had to say. Before we get into my take, let's listen to Keldon Johnson. Here he is at the event where the fan asked him, "Hey, what's up with number 3?" So check it out, everybody.
Are you keeping 3? I'm going to have to buy a new jersey.
No, for sure. I'll be number 3 next year, for sure.
Can I get it?
And there you have it. Rudy, you heard it for himself. He said he's keeping number 3 for sure. But I'm going to take the other side. I think Keldon should have given up number 3. Now, you made a good point. CP3 could buy it off from him. I mean, I think that's kind of like the rule within sports, right? Whether it's NBA, football, baseball. If you want a number, you got to buy it.
Yeah.
Here's why I think KJ should have given it up. 1, that is the point guard. That is a bound, soon to be Hall of Famer once his career is over.
Yeah.
I mean, that is Chris freaking Paul. If you talk about longevity, he's worn number 3 longer than Keldon has. And even adding on Wake Forest. 2, Keldon Johnson years ago said that CP3 is his favorite player. As a matter of fact, he said he grew up idolizing CP3, that he watched how he moved. And that's a big reason why Keldon Johnson chose number 3. Now, Keldon Johnson has worn number 3 throughout his NBA career. He also wore it, I believe, in Kentucky and then in high school. Now, Keldon Johnson did deviate from 3 when he was playing with the Austin Spurs. He wore 0. But nevertheless, I think if that is your idol, if that is the guy that you grew up with, if that is the person that you maybe pattern some of your game off of, watch highlights of, and Rudy, what happened to respect your elders? What happened to that? Yeah. Let's just say, what if you're on a roster right now, Rudy, and say the Spurs, whatever, or you know what? What's that Duke guy that the North Carolina guy? I'm sorry that you like, Joe Forte.
Okay, Forte.
If Joe Forte was on your basketball squad, he sees you with his number. Would you give it up for you're the guy that you grew up watching and liking and calling him the best NC guy coming out? I think you would. Would you? If Joe Forte asked you to give up the number for him, would you do it?
Personally, again, it goes back to if that number is significant for me, then no, I wouldn't. I
Even if
mean,
it's Joe
even if
Forte,
it's
the guy that
now.
you come on Locked On Spurs all the time, just saying how much you think he is the greatest NC guy.
I honestly, yeah, I mean, it depends on the significance of the number. If it doesn't really mean anything to me, then I would probably give it up in a heartbeat. But again, and we know for a fact money talks. I mean, if Joe Forte is giving me a good amount of money and some other stuff, then I'll definitely listen, maybe. But just to hand it over to him, just because he was one of my favorite, if not my favorite all-time NC guy, I wouldn't just give it up right out the bat. I mean,
I'm calling BS. I'm calling BS on that. I've seen the way you glow. I've seen the way you glow about Forte. You have a
Only guy to own his
his
professional jersey, probably in
you
the
own his
world.
jersey, and you're like, nah, it's okay, Joe Forte. Even though I see, but look, I mean, seriously, obviously things can change between now and then. Who knows? Maybe CP does offer him a boatload of money, and Kel's like, okay, whatever. Two, maybe the powers that be might kind of nudge Keldon, like, hey, Keldon, you should have said that. So there's certain things that could obviously get in the way of that. But if I look at this thing, that's how much it's been kind of a controversy in San Antonio or a hot topic because of the efforts that the Spurs have put into covering up CP3. Rudy, we've seen it already on social media. You go to the Spurs social media, they have pictures of Chris Paul, but they always have his jersey blocked.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If obviously as of now, Keldon says he's number 3, so we're gonna go with that, and that's straight from him. He's gonna wear number 3 moving forward. What number do you think CP3 should pick next?
Oh golly, man. I mean, it's not gonna be a retired number, I'm sure of that. I mean, if he was, well, I'm not smart. I mean, he's a smart guy. He would probably be bold to ask Tim Duncan for 21 because they were both played at Wake Forest, and him and Timmy are pretty good friends, but if I had to think of a number for him to probably take over, oh man, I don't know, man. If it's Chris Paul, maybe like number 8, maybe something. It's going to be a double-digit number. I doubt he goes a single-digit number. I doubt he goes double-digit. So, I mean, maybe number 2, even though
I can see that. You took one of my ideas out of my mind is asking Tim Duncan if he can wear 21 because 2 + 1 is 3.
Yeah.
And of course, the Wake Forest connection. I doubt Timmy or the Spurs would allow that. Like, no.
I don't even know if Timmy cares, to be honest with you. He'd probably be
there's that too. Yeah, I don't think Timmy would care, especially with CP, I think he'd be even more so. I don't care. Let him wear it,
Yeah.
Here's another thing too. What, talk about double digit. What is it? You can help me on this because I think you know more knowledge about jerseys, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's say Keldon Johnson stays at 3 because right now he's just 3. Is it okay for a team to have 0-3? Is that okay?
No, I think it's still the same thing.
It's still the same? Okay.
Yeah, it's still the same thing because it's still the number 3 regardless. I don't think they can go 0-3 and then have a 3. I know in college football you're able to have multiple of the same numbers for players, but in the NBA I think 3 is 3. So it's either 0-3 or 3.
You can't play around with it like that. Okay. Johnny Moore was 0-0, right?
Yeah.
I can see Chris Paul going 0. Here's the other thing too. Just for me, because I'm a big nerd, I would like for him to go CP30. I think y'all can figure that out. For
30?
C3PO, that's the closest you're gonna get to C3PO in the way you make it up. But just so we see, like, I just want to see that happen just for that. It's like a nerd out every time he did something good, wearing the C3PO, and then flash C3PO's image here.
What about 33? I mean,
who wore 33 last? Boris Diaw, right? Was Boris? 33?
Was it Boris? I know what Antonio Daniels was 33.
Antonio was 33. Yeah.
Maybe Boris Diaw was 33.
I
Can't remember. I can't remember offhand, but I was gonna say 5. I mean, 5 is a number that I think would play out.
That's Stefan Castle. Castle has 5.
And that's what I was saying. I don't know. That would be Stefan. I mean,
well, then maybe Chris Paul can bully the rookie. Then he'd be like, "No, rookie, ain't wearing number 5. Well, I'm taking 5."
I would say this, real quick. Does this kind of lead to something in the locker room? I mean, you don't want any bad blood for CP3 coming onto the team, and then, he has, because CP3 is one of those guys that it seems like he necessarily holds a grudge, but he can kind of get under players' skin from time to time. You don't think he makes practices kind of awkward for Keldon? If he doesn't get that number 3 that he wants, I
No,
mean, does it look
no.
bad for Keldon? Like you mentioned, maybe the Spurs organization are like, well, we want to give him number 3, so does that create bad blood? I mean, it's kind of going deep down a rabbit hole, but I wouldn't surprise to see it maybe be a problem later on in the season or before the
Yeah,
season starts.
I see what you're saying. I mean, over a jersey number,
You'd be
Chris Paul
surprised,
would be
dude. You'd
petty
be
for that?
surprised.
Petty over that, over a jersey number? But, yeah, I don't think. I would hope over a freaking number, nothing
Yeah.
like that would happen. But so once I released the article and the video on social media, we had a lot of pushback from Spurs fans, and it's kind of mixed. So first of all, I'm gonna get your reaction to this. Some Spurs fans no, sorry, that was a Twitter, on X, are saying that by Keldon Johnson, that this was the nail in the coffin, that he's gonna get traded. How dare you not give up number 3 for the point guard, Keldon, traded? You don't think that's a sign of that, do you, Rudy?
Well, that's kind of what I just mentioned. Is that, does that already does it make the situation even weirder? That's kind of what I was getting at. Does he get traded over not giving away a jersey? I doubt we'll see that even happening. I mean, I can't say it, but then again, who knows, man? Who knows these days? I mean, a lot of players have so much control when it comes to organizations and they have a lot of say so and stuff. Who knows anymore? Maybe he knows something. I have no idea, but I don't think it means that he's getting traded per se, but I do feel like some of these fans, maybe it's a little bit of a cause for concern in the locker room. That's kind of what I get from the fans.
All right, they've got a comment here from Adam on X, at Adam. Okay, it's a long number, but whatever. 059421031. How do you remember that name? But he reacted to the video, Rudy, by saying, all due respect to KJ, CP3 is a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he wants to keep that number, he's probably going to get it. And that's my point. That's a freaking Hall of Famer. That's CP3. And again, longevity, who has the number longer? CP3 had it. And I get your point, but who has the number longer for the Spurs? It's Keldon. Keldon is the longest tenured Spur on the roster.
Yeah.
Weird to say. He's the longest tenured.
It's one of the older guys.
The older guys. Yeah, we got another comment from Mike Tex, at Mike Tex 95. He says, KJ will be traded. We have another comment here from, here it is, from Spurs Season, at Spurs versus the World on X. It's the point guard, though. Keldon will be traded soon. So Spurs fans feel like, whatever, Keldon, keep number 3, you're going to get traded anyway. But then I reverse it, Rudy. What if CP3 is just, well, maybe CP blank right now, is just a rental? Is just a rental. You think that could have factored into Keldon's thing? Maybe they already had discussion, and CP's like, yeah, probably I won't be here for the full season, whatever, keep it. That could be happening.
Yeah, I mean, because I mentioned before the fact that if the Spurs are not in any type of playoff contention or even play-in contention, they're going to get a lot of phone calls come the trade deadline for both Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes. I mean, both of those guys are difference makers when it comes to a playoff team, especially a team making a push for an NBA title. So I fully expect if they're not in contention, even like I said, just for the play-in spot, they're going to get a ton of phone calls, and I'm almost willing to bet that Chris Paul is probably one of the guys that's going to be moved at the time, because go back at his contract. I mean, when he signed it, or when he agreed to it and signed it, it's a team-friendly contract, but it's also a trade-friendly contract, because every team out there that's in contention can absorb that contract with no issues at all. I mean, it's a very, very good contract. And if the Spurs don't trade him, again, it's a one-year deal. They're not paying much for Chris Paul. So I do fully expect that if they're not in any type of contention, that he's going to be moved at the trade deadline.
Yeah, that could have been in some of the thought process there. Maybe he already did talk to, like I said, CP3 and be like, hey, you're really gonna be here for the long haul? If not, sure, go for it. Use number 3. That could be a reason. And again, things can change. They could be offered a boatload of money from CP3. That could happen. I think the Spurs should lean into this too. Have fun with this. Like make like an HEB commercial. Let's just I doubt there's probably a conflict with State Farm. I don't think there's a conflict with State Farm and a grocery chain.
Shouldn't
But
be.
shouldn't be. But let's just say they have fun with it. And, that's that it writes itself. For them to be debating about this over like food or something like that. But and I thought too that if let's just say Keldon had told that fan, hey, yeah, I am gonna have to give it up, number 3. I thought that he would. I think that he would go to 0 because that's what he wore at the Austin Spurs, and 0 it doesn't conflict with Johnny Moore, right? Because Johnny Moore was 00, right?
Not so much. It doesn't conflict with Johnny. I mean, 00 and 0 again, pretty much the same thing, but I think it's still fine. They're not going to ask Johnny if, hey, is it okay if Keldon uses 0? Because it is definitely okay if he uses 0. I honestly think that, I don't know, man, 0 is great for Keldon, but again, it just kind of comes back to the whole thing of if he doesn't want to give it up, he shouldn't have to give it up at all. There's no reason for him to give it up. I really don't care if Chris Paul's the point guard and all this. He's had a tremendous career. Who knows? This could be Chris Paul's last year. So why even give up, your jersey for 1 year rental or something like that? I see Keldon's side. I know if I get flack for it, but again, it is what it is. It's by choice. You don't have to give up your jersey if you don't want to. I mean, if the team's forcing you, then that's kind of bad on the team to force you to give up your own jersey. Again, especially without us knowing if it has any significant meaning to Keldon. So, for me, I like the word 25, but go ahead.
No, I was like, it does, beyond just why he wore number 3 for CP3, it does go beyond that too. Keldon Johnson has said he wears number 3 because he's a third child in his family.
There you go.
So yeah, it's tough. You have another comment here on X from Momo. This is a weird name, at Gimme Some Kids VW. There it is. He says, this is a lack of respect for Chris Paul's career. They better trade him being Keldon Johnson. So some Spurs fans are kind of upset with Keldon. Another one, this is from Daniel Sun 8721 on X. He says, wow, hell no, cut him and respect the point guard. What are your thoughts about that, about just respecting that is Chris Paul?
I mean, you respect the guy. He's a legend in the game. He's going to go down as one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game of basketball. Total respect. And then, I'm not disrespecting him in any way when it comes to just a jersey number. I mean, if you want to disrespect a guy like that, you find, more meaningful things to disrespect Chris Paul on. But I mean, let's be real, man. I mean, are the Spurs even title contenders this year? I mean, anything like that? So why in the hell are fans making a big deal over a jersey number at that? I mean, they make a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people make it seem like if we don't give Chris Paul this number, that we're gonna go into NBA damnation or something. I mean, hell, we're kind of already there right now. So it's not like Chris Paul not getting number 3 is going to be the end of the world, or it's going to make the Spurs even worse. It has nothing like that. I just to me, it's like, I think the fans just got to chill out for a little bit, see what happens. Maybe come, training camp, there's a decision and Keldon's like, you know what, I did give up, number 3. I'm going to go to this number. It's way too early in the season. I mean, hell, I doubt even Chris Paul's even, practiced with anybody in San Antonio yet. So, just give it a little bit of time, but I just can't see why everybody's overreacting to it.
Yeah, well, we have another comment that is in your favor from Thomas Sedero. He said, he's at TS Money 01 on X. He says, I get it. Keldon has been there, San Antonio, long enough, and he's not some scrub. But wow, he might get traded for that. But the point is, he agrees that Keldon was right to not give up the number. And that's the thing, I think, ultimately, he's, as of now, according to Keldon Johnson, we played the video for you, his words, not ours, that he's keeping number 3. But that's, if it does come to fruition though, and CP3 puts on a new number, that's the end of an era, Rudy. Even if it's temporary. I mean, I think over 19 plus years, CP3 is known as CP3. It's going to stop because of Keldon Johnson. I'm baffled, Rudy, why you don't see the magnitude of this.
Maybe because I've seen Kobe Bryant go from number 8 to 24. I've seen Michael Jordan go from 23 to 45 back to 23. I think even LeBron, he went from 23 to 6. I mean, there's guys out there that are considered all-time greats that have switched jersey numbers before, never messed with their career. So, Yeah, the magnitude, I guess, is personal for CP3 and maybe personal for fans out there. But I mean, we've seen players switch jersey numbers before and they've been okay. At the end of the day, you know what? If you have to change your number just because you're on a different team, it's part of the game, man. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
All right, well, there you have it. Our thoughts on, at least for now, Keldon Johnson saying he's keeping number 3, and CP3 is no more after a 19-plus year run of wearing that. We'll see. Yeah, that's going to be the next thing now is what number is Chris Paul going to be wearing. So hopefully the Spurs can just, like, kill it right now. Hey, Spurs, I already put it out there, so just reveal what Chris Paul's new number is. Just go for it. There's no need to hide it anymore. But we'll see what CP3 changes to moving forward. All right, when we're getting back in just a few minutes, we're going to be discussing you guys, Locked On Spurs fans, and I've got a question for Rudy. Just how far or how much is his fandom for Victor Wembanyama? We'll talk about that in just a few seconds. Hey, you need to go visit GameTime.co right now. GameTime, yeah. They have it all. If you need tickets for concert, events, just anything in your area, you want to go to Game Time. Game Time has this feature called Game Time Picks and makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Hey, mention Game Time's 50% off labor offer. Basically, mention it by just simply typing it in and when you check out. And guess what? You'll get some good deals. So there you have it. Hey, what else did this app has? Well, they have views from your seat, the lowest price guarantee. What else they got? Event cancellation protection, job loss protection. They have it all. It's an app that you need to get right now for your next event that you want to go to, and especially if you need a ticket. Game Time Picks, yeah. They have this thing where you have this toggle feature that will show you the entire price up front, so there's no surprises when you check out. So there you have it. You can save more on sports, concerts, theater, comedy, whatever you need a ticket in your area, Game Time is a place to go to. Hey, by the way, that Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered by the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Hello, Spurs fans. Joker here, and I listen to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. And you better too.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Peppa Pig. Peppa, can I borrow some money? You got all that cash, man.
Sure.
All that bucks.
Sure. Yeah, give me your cash. I got you.
What's the interest rate on that, though?
For you, I got it at like 2%. I'll give you a lower rate on that.
I'll take it. All right, thank you.
I'm gonna get real quick. This shirt is a savage moment from Peppa Pig's cartoon, from what I learned from other people.
Well, what is it?
Well, I think what it is like she makes a phone call to a friend of hers.
Yeah.
And her friend was like, "Oh, I already know." So she's kind of like, okay. And then if you look, she hits the hang up button. That little button there. So she hangs up on her friend. And it's kind of ironic that we're talking about, a little rift between Keldon and Chris. That, Keldon being a little savage, saying, well, I'm not giving up my number. Hell no. So I guess it worked out in the God's favor there.
Rudy, I think you want the drama. You want that jersey drama. I'm not.
I'll take all the smoke I can get. I don't care. I mean, I don't run away from it.
What? Okay, before we continue with these fan comments in a bit, and then my question about you, with Victor Wembanyama, what one player would you give up your number for? Like one where you're like, no doubt about it. I don't care about sentimental value. He's coming to be my teammate. I'm giving up my number.
Drazen Petrovic.
Really? Yeah. Instantly.
Yeah. Drazen Petrovic.
Yeah. See, I thought you were gonna say Joe Forte, but no.
No. I mean, Forte was my favorite player in college, but NBA player, I have a lot of other NBA players that I would prefer. But I'm a huge Drazen Petrovic fan. I love Drazen Petrovic when he played. So if he came to me and he said, "Rudy, I need that jersey," I'm like, "There you go. I'll iron it for you. I'll do whatever I have to. There, here you go, man."
for me, it'd be David Robinson. If D-Rob walked on and was my teammate and I'm wearing 50 and he says, oh, man, I can't wear. Oh, there you go, David. Speak no more. There you go. 5-0 is here. I'll flip it. I'll just be 5 or something like 5-0 or something like, or I'm sorry, 0-5, excuse me. But hey, that's a good question, everybody. If you want to let us know, what one athlete would you give up your jersey number for in a KJCP3 situation, let Rudy know on X at Sweep the League, and let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Hey, Rudy, before we get into some Spurs fans' comments here, so earlier in the show, I talked about how this card collector is putting out a $1 million bounty on a Victor Wembanyama Superfractor autograph card. Fancy terms, everybody. I'll just say rare. And it's a card that's going to be coming out in the Topps newest set coming out later this month. $1 million bounty. If you pull that card, are you calling that guy, getting home, saying, hey, I have it, here's proof, here's pictures of it, here's video of it, to collect that $1 million, or do you keep it knowing it's probably going to be more valuable than $1 million?
So I've already been down this road before where I've sold a very expensive card for pennies on the dot, pennies basically.
Yeah.
But in this case, for $1 million bounty, I'm calling ASAP, but I'm also making one stipulation. That $1 million needs to be in cash. I don't need to get taxed on it at all. So
you want cash, cold cash, right?
It's cold hard cash. If you want to give me the $1 million, which is probably like 3 stacks only in certain people's, and it's not going to be a briefcase full of money unless it's all 5s or something. But I'm definitely calling ASAP saying if I can get it in cold hard cash, that way it's, it's just in cash and it's yours. If not, I'll wait because I know I'll definitely get a cash offer somewhere. But I would sell it right away, only because what people do not realize is in the world of card collecting is the hotter a player is, it could go cold so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And, knock on wood, it takes an injury. It takes something to happen. A good case real quick is Wander Franco in baseball. His cards were extremely popular. The next Mike Trout, everything was just being called. He had an event that happened behind the scenes. If you want to look it up, you can go look. I'm not going to mention it here, but he had some stuff happening behind the scenes, and now his cards are, a couple $100 at the high end and, $20-something on the low end. So a player can take a turn for the worse, whether it be injury or whatever, and then that $1 million card goes down to like $1,000. So take the money while you can. Basically, that's what I say.
I'm on the fence. I know $1 million is $1 million. For you and me, is life changing. We can do a lot with that. But
not for you, or you're a millionaire.
I knew you were gonna say something like that. No, everybody don't believe those lies you see on social media that Rudy and everybody else cooks me on. But that's there. Think about that. That's your daughter's college tuition done.
Yeah,
sealed up and everything. That's paying off the house, or maybe upgrade your house. I don't know. For me, I don't have kids. I don't have a wife, but that's paying off credit card bills right there. That's maybe a new car for myself. But knowing that card has value moving forward, and especially if he becomes an MVP, he wins a championship.
Yeah,
geez, that $1 million investment is going to probably triple. By the time it gets there. But
look at Zion. His cards were hot for a while. Big dollars, and he hasn't really done much to equivalent to what you paid for him back then. So.
Zion, Wemby.
Oh no, I get it. But you just never know, man. You never know.
All right. Well, let's talk about some Locked On Spurs fan comments that have been left on the YouTube page. By the way, subscribe, everybody. By the way, thank you, everybody, for helping Locked On Spurs reach 5,000. We finally eclipsed it now. We're a little over 5,000 subscribers. Keep them coming. All right. Really, the first comment is from @TGodZ. I think I did it right. So we're talking, I think he's talking about Wemby, yes, and the team. He says, last season, specifically in the first half of the season, the team felt strained in accepting or perhaps figuring Wemby was the focal point. Every national game, it felt like everyone not named Wemby wanted to be the man. What do you think about that? You think that was an adjustment the Spurs should have figured out faster than later? Or you think that's just, again, he's Wemby and it takes time? But it sounds like T-Gods is saying, like, maybe there was some resistance from the Spurs not making Wemby the focal point. The players, not the Spurs coach, meaning like his teammates.
T-God is on a correct path right there. In the sense that we didn't know exactly, and when I say we, I mean the Spurs didn't know exactly the type of player that Wemby was. I mean, you can't take an off season and figure, okay, this team's going to be like this, and he's going to be the focal point. Every team outside of San Antonio knows he's the focal point, knows he's the main guy. So they hone on him, and they try to throw a couple of defensive schemes at him, stuff like that. So I get you're not trusting him as much in the beginning. Guys like Devin, Keldon, not being able to trust him right away. But you saw that kind of turn around the All-Star break. The second half of the season, you saw the Spurs starting to make headway, and that was because they figured out their role on the team, and that's what takes time. When you have a rookie, a first-round pick, I mean, again, you go back to Tim Duncan. He came already onto an established Spurs team. David Robinson came onto a team that had some really good veteran leadership. So then right now, Wemby came onto a team that was struggling and it continued to struggle all of last year. They were still trying to get their identity, which again, it happens, but he's on the right path. I think they were not reluctant at first. They were still trying to figure out how to use him, where to put him on the floor, what plays benefited, stuff like that. But now going into year 2, it should be a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you saw the adjustment late in the season last year. Devin really developed a lot of chemistry with Wemby. That could be a potential 1-2 punch moving forward.
Yeah.
Keldon, came off the bench. He played that role. So you saw a role. Trey Jones definitely was the one guard that found Wemby the most. Stats prove it. You all know about that. So
Yeah.
overall, I think it just took time. I don't think I was in the locker room. I was in the conference, pre and post games. Never did I ever feel that the Spurs, his teammates that is, were trying to ice him out or reluctant to make him the man. Never get that. I think there was just some adjustment. And you saw that during the regular season. I think it was the game where the Spurs were at the Bulls, where the Bulls TV commentators called out the Spurs, saying, like, what are you doing? Your name is not Wemby. Why are you trying to be the man? You're not the man. It's him. I think that was just adjustment. But I think the rule, the standard is set. Wemby is the man moving forward. All right, thank you for that comment. Next one, and I picked it for obvious reasons. You'll find out right now. It's from Eric Odinson. You know where that came from.
Yeah.
6593. He's talking about Brian Wright. He says, quote, I think it's kind of dumb to hate on the GM when in the last 4 years he has acquired like 20 first-round picks that we can either use or use as leverage for trades. What do you think about that, Rudy? Spurs fans tend to really give Brian Wright the business, even though he's amassed this war chest of picks, brought in some veterans right now moving forward, CP3 and CP blank right now, and Harrison Barnes. Do you think Spurs fans should ease up on the kind of the business that they give Brian Wright? Because I believe they should.
I agree with you in a sense that the only thing I don't like about Brian Wright is his drafting has been a little bit sketchy. And I mean, that's, is it more Brian Wright? Is it the entire front office? Who knows? I mean, I don't think Brian Wright has the final decision on making these draft picks, but outside of drafting, if you look at everything that Brian has done, he's amassed a whole lot of assets for the San Antonio Spurs. He's actually put them in a great position for that loaded 2025 offseason. And that's what I think Spurs fans fail to realize. The problem with Spurs fans, Jeff, is we see it all the time. It's the fact of, what have you done for me lately? You're not bringing in playoff teams. You're not bringing in, wins. We're still a bottom feeder. Well, you're going to be a bottom feeder for a little bit. It happens. You're not always going to have a dynasty type team. You're not always going to have a Tim Duncan run of 20 plus playoff appearances and 50 plus wins a year. I mean, it's rare that continues to happen over a lifetime for a franchise. So if you look at everything, Brian in the front office has actually put the Spurs in a really good position going into next offseason. Now, if they come off next offseason and it's a complete dud, then I start to question, well, what are we thinking here? This may not have been a really good idea to save all this stuff where you can't even use it. But look at everything he's amassed. You cannot blame him.
Yeah. You talk about the drafting. Sohan, I think it's still too soon to say, he is what he is.
I think I'm kind of already at that point where
I'm not there. I'm going to give him another year. I'm going to see how much the Wemby effect impacts him moving forward. I think with Keldon, it's safe to say he is what he is already. You know, what about Devin? I think Devin does have another gear in him. What about Malachi? I think he does. You know, we'll see what Stephon Castle turns into, but so far, you know, still, even with Castle, it's hard for me to even make a judgment because we got like 3 summer league games to make a judgment on. I mean, if you want to say for draft picks, then yeah, DeJounte Murray in Atlanta, getting those. Okay, I think that's a good one, but you think we need to see how he does with a player for player trade kind of thing? He's done pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's just, because the Spurs are in a rebuild, he put the Spurs in the best position in a rebuild. Now, it'd be interesting to see if the team was already established, and then he came on. Okay, what are you going to do, Brian Wright, to keep it going? Then you might have to swing for some trade, like player trades. But since he came on during pretty much the start of the rebuild-ish, he's definitely put the Spurs on the right course to come out of the rebuild faster, bigger, and badder. Thank you for those comments, everybody. Keep them coming. It's a long off-season, I should say, but we'll definitely keep things going here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, Rudy, we need to know about Sweep the League. Why should everybody be tuning in and subscribing over at the YouTube page?
Yeah, you got to tune in because you got college football coming up. We're going to do some preview videos for that. Also, NFL is, I believe, like 17 days away now, so you got to get ready for NFL season. Plus, we still talk a little bit about NBA. You know, we have Derek Gervin, who tells it like it is when it comes to NBA stuff. Coach Gio still gives me a hard time left and right. And I promise you, because last show that I did with you, you mentioned that the Spurs had a championship belt, and I said I'd bring my belt on here, but I don't have a title belt.
Let's see it.
Other than I have a fantasy football belt that I know people say that you know, they're fantasy gods and all, but I've always said I'm a fantasy immortal, and I'm immortalized by my championship belt there. So yeah, you can catch Sweep the League on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search at Sweep the League TV, and just be a subscriber. We're giving up a whole lot more prizes. We just hit over 200 subscribers, so hey, we're about to party again.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, speaking of belts, let me show you this. I showed it earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Would you buy that?
I'm gonna probably not. I probably wouldn't buy it.
Close to 600 bones, man.
Yeah, no, that's $600 more than I have.
Jeez, it's nice though, right? I mean, it's nice.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely nice, but I mean, I guarantee you they're gonna probably sell close to 1,000 of them. I'm sure fans are gonna buy it. There's no doubt about that.
This is considered a special item according to Fanatics. I think they're made to order. Like once you order it, then they make it and then they ship it to you. But man, that is I mean, I'm tempted. I am so tempted. Okay, I mean, I think nobody should be surprised by the new season. This might be all changed up, but yeah, I would love to have the belt hanging over here, or just above me. I mean, that'd be awesome. But 600 bones, man, that's a lot of cash. But anyway, everybody, subscribe to Sweep the League. Just go to Rudy's X. You can see it on your screen at Sweep the League. Yep. And there you see all the links, how to subscribe, all that stuff. He's constantly putting up clips of the show. It's a fun show. It's a good show. And if you're late at night working like I sometimes am and you want to tune in some sports talk, that's where you want to go, to Sweep the League. Hey, we'll be back on Wednesday talking more San Antonio Spurs as the offseason continues. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, Kens 5 Plus app, YouTube, and what else you got? Oh, yeah, Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel only on YouTube, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. 24/7 streaming sports. Hey, you're a sports nut. What better way to catch up on all things in the world of sports? Subscribe to that show ASAP. So for Rudy Peppa Pig, or Dark Peppa Pig, Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.